We're going to kick things off today and have a conversation about what was a full mask-off WrestleMania, both the week before and the week after in the world of WWE, where a lot of folks who, I think, put out of their minds the shit show of a company that WWE is, had to confront the uncomfortable reality of what WWE is in the year 2025. And I think I have a couple of examples here. Was this, mythical individual you a believer in the myth of a loving Papa H? Someone who cares about his wrestlers and, feels strongly like a father to them. Well, you got to hear Triple H on the High Performance podcast bemoaning how many NXT wrestlers become complacent and out of shape when they get called up to the main roster. You could watch Bayley cry on Chris Van Vliet's podcast as she talked about doing an entire build to a Mania match only to get taken out with a quote-unquote injury at the last second for Becky Lynch. An injury that was immediately leaked to the dirt sheets as not a real injury and the plan for months. Were you excited that WWE was partnering with other wrestling companies like Noah and TNA? You got to watch the TNA men's champion Joe Hendry get an incredible WrestleMania moment by being squashed by Randy Orton in 3 minutes. You got to watch WWE announce that they had bought AAA, one of Mexico's 2 largest wrestling promotions, and then hear Conan tell us on his podcast that Mexican wrestlers were going to need to learn English and learn how to wrestle the WWE style. Did you think that WWE being owned and run by TKO media moguls like Ari Emanuel and Nick Khan meant a more professional, polished, and less carny WWE? Listen to Nick Khan tell Bill Simmons that WWE is the underdog when it comes to any competition between them and other wrestling companies. The same underdog WWE that earns $580 million per year just for Raw and SmackDown media rights, and also gets the cherry on top of $100 million per year from the government of Saudi Arabia, and let alone any other taxpayer money that they can con out of other cities and municipalities. Were you somebody who hand-waved away Triple H's Trump White House photo or his being behind Linda McMahon during her Senate hearing for Secretary of Education, who excused it as Triple H supporting his mother-in-law, a woman who hadn't worked for the company in years? Here's Triple H on the Flagrant podcast talking about how Trump is a charismatic, amazing genius. Here's Roman Reigns in Vanity Fair praising Trump as competent and positive and respected as a world leader. Did you think it was okay that WWE had so many ties to Trump because progressives like Sami Zayn and CM Punk worked there? You got to listen to Sami Zayn laugh on stage at the Mania roast while comedians and WWE personalities made racist, sexist, homophobic, and transphobic jokes at the expense of people who weren't at that event and in some cases don't even work at WWE anymore. You got to listen to CM Punk tell Kazim on The Ringer that it would be ridiculous for him to quit his job just because people on Twitter called WWE a MAGA company. Were you bought into the whole bad man gone myth that the sexism and racism and homophobia that was just a clear and obvious part of WWE throughout its history was over now that bad man Vince McMahon was no longer with the company? Here's Paul Heyman on Pat McAfee's show, threatening to have a Hispanic audience member deported. All of this, the shit sandwich that WWE wanted to shove in the face of people who believed in the kinder, more gentle WWE as they headed into WrestleMania week, and tried to feel good about the shit tons of money they spent on what ended up being, I think, by all accounts, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 matches, a really disappointing 2 sets of evenings.